Can Portfolio Recovery sue you for charged off debt? My name is Mike Wasylik. I'm one of the lawyers at Ricardo and Wasylik here in Florida, and together with my partner Jason Ricardo, I help people just like you overcome foreclosure and debt collection with dignity. And today I'm going to tell you whether or not Portfolio can sue you for charged off debt. Now, before we begin, it's important to note Portfolio Recovery is a junk debt buyer and a debt collector. What that means is they go to credit card companies and they will buy lists of charged off loans, stale debt from credit card companies, and they'll buy these lists for pennies on the dollar, and then they'll turn around and try to squeeze nickels, dimes, and even quarters out of the people whose names appear on that list, people who might be just like you. And what they do is they don't actually have the accounts or any of the paperwork or the contracts or any of that stuff underlying it. All they have is a list. And so they'll try to call you on the phone. They'll try to write to you by, with debt collection letters and ask you to pay in those letters. And if that fails, in most cases or in many cases, they will then try to take you to court to sue you for that charged off debt. Now, what does it mean to have charged off debt? Any debt that goes unpaid for a particular time to a credit card company is, for the first few months, it's considered an open account, an active account, and that the accountants have a certain way of tracking that on the books of the credit card companies. And the way that's tracked matters for tax purposes. Doesn't really matter for your purposes, but the accountants care about it. And so when they decide that the debt is no longer collectible, they will then move it to what's called a charged off status. And all that means it's just an accounting device. It doesn't mean you don't owe the debt. It doesn't mean they've abandoned the debt. It just means they don't believe it's an active account that they're likely to get paid for, and they're essentially moving it to the collection sphere. And in most cases, that means they're going to sell it to somebody like Portfolio Recovery or some other junk debt buyer so that those people can try to collect it. And they get money by selling those lists of charged off accounts. So the fact the loan has been charged off does not mean that you're off the hook. The fact a loan has been charged off does not mean you don't owe to the credit card company the money that you borrowed. What it does mean is it's moved into the collection sphere, and companies like Portfolio Recovery are now going to try to collect it from you with letters, phone calls, negative credit reporting, and ultimately even taking you to court. Depending on the size of the loan, it may be small claims court, or it may be, if it's a larger loan, they might take you to regular court, in which case you will have to show up either virtually or by paper or in person, depending on what type of court it is. You'll have to respond in the court system about the Portfolio Recovery lawsuit against you. And if you don't do that right, you can have a judgment entered against you, and your money can be taken through wage garnishment, which means you can lose up to a quarter of your paycheck, every paycheck, until the debt's paid off, or you can have money taken from you against your will in other ways. So you want to make sure to avoid having a judgment entered against you by failing to properly respond to the lawsuit if Portfolio sues you, even if it's for charged off debt. So if you want to do that by yourself, just remember that every court appearance, the judge is required to treat you just like everybody else, just like the lawyers who show up in front of the court, meaning that they can't give you legal advice, and you're expected to know the rules of evidence, the rules of procedure, and the rules of law that govern the claims that are being made against you. So if it's a breach of contract, if it's a account stated or open account claim or an unjust enrichment claim, you have to know what that means and how they work in order to properly defend that. And the judge can't spoon feed you. The judge can't give you legal advice. You're going to have to do it on your own. But if you want help, if you don't want to go to court, if you don't want to go up against Portfolio's lawyers by yourself, you can get help. Call us for a free 30-minute appointment to talk about your strategy. The click to call link is in the description below, or you can call us at 352-567-3173. That number is in the description as well. Now, if you've got a question, leave it in the comments section. We will respond either in the comments or with a video of our own to the best of our ability. If this has been helpful for you, share it with somebody you know who needs it. Hitting the like button will help other people who need it see it as well. And finally, If you want more information about junk debt buyers, debt collection, credit reporting, even foreclosure, subscribe so you don't miss a thing. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.